LEGO, the popular building block toy company that everyone knows and loves, is one of the most successful and richest toy companies ever. But just like any other company, LEGO faces its ups and downs. Not so long ago, the company's sales were plummeting. In the very late 90s and early 2000s, the LEGO company started to suffer the consequences of poor business decisions, some of which include focusing too much on Legoland theme parks, or spending too much money on digital media. The classic LEGO bricks simply were not making enough money to keep the company afloat. LEGO had to throw new ideas at the wall and see what would stick. Throughout this process of trial and error, they eventually figured out how to make a product line that would be successful. This line, of course, was Bionicle. Bionicle was originally released in 2001 in America as a sub-theme underneath the Technic line. Bionicle was a true spiritual successor to Throwbots, due to its use of ball and socket joint pieces that would allow for articulation and movement. Bionicles are very action figure-like, and much more humanoid and articulated when compared to Throwbots or some other Technic sets. The thing that set Bionicle further apart from other LEGO lines at the time was that it had incredible world building and lore. The world of Bionicle was built up by incredible advertising and promotional campaigns through multimedia. From games to books to movies, Bionicle was everywhere in the early 2000s. Bionicle was a huge success for the LEGO company, and in its first year, it earned well over $100 million in revenue. Bionicle was one of the first lines to use 3D rendered box art. They were also notable for their very action-packed 3D animated commercials. From 2001 to 2003, many of the Bionicle sets included mini-discs that would have 3D animated videos stored on them to introduce fans to the lore. LEGO also produced tons of flash games and shorts to the official Bionicle website. The concept for a movie based on the Bionicle toy line was proposed as early as 2001, as soon as it became a massive commercial success. The direct-to-DVD film Bionicle The Mask of Light officially began production the next year. California-based studio Creative Cappers Entertainment made a $5 million deal with LEGO to produce the film. They also ended up partnering with Miramax for distribution, and oddly Disney as well. Creative Cappers' work on the Bionicle films was spearheaded by directors David Molina and Terry Shakespeare, as well as producer Sue Shakespeare. The three of them were involved and oversaw all aspects of production. It is also important to mention the head of storyboard and environmental design, Dan Fossett, who was very integral to the making of the world of Bionicle feel alive while keeping the recognizable design. They had to figure out the best way to redesign the characters to work in a film. They needed characters that could be expressive and relatable, yet still staying true to the clunky plastic toys. They decided to give them proper human hands, some muscles in their arms and legs, as well as to make their masks more flexible with moving mouths and eyebrows. Creative Cappers developed the characters' background, storyboards, and concept art, which was all sent overseas to be animated. The animation was outsourced to CG Incorporated, a Taiwanese animation studio. It was here that the actual video was created. Most of the animation was done in a software called Maya, which handled character modeling, coloring, and texturing, character setups, layouts, lighting, special effects, and final rendering. Outsourcing 3D CGI animation overseas was considered quite revolutionary at the time, as usually outsourcing animation was strictly for more traditional cell animation, but this allowed for films to be produced fast, with Mask of Light only taking 13 months to make, whereas usually similar projects would take around 18 to 24 months. The fast speed was mostly due to the differences in time zones, with the American team able to work while the Taiwan team was sleeping and vice versa. They also used an FTP internet server that allowed the team to share their files quickly. This was very new technology at the time, but is now much more widely used by many industries. The first film, Bionicle The Mask of Light, was released in 2003 with good critical reception for a direct-to-DVD kids film.
None have breached Tokoro's gates before, and none shall this day.
Protect us. I'm coming, Tahu.
The Madoran.
The Mask of Light revolves around the island of Matanui. The spirit protecting the island is also called Matanui, was put into a deep slumber by the evil spirit Makuta. The only thing that can stop Makuta is the Mask of Light, the final blessing from the good spirit. The mask falls into the hands of two Matoran, short villager Bionicles, who are assisted by 6 heroes known as Toa, on a grand adventure to bring it to the Toa of Light in order to destroy Makuta once and for all. The story is basically Lord of the Rings for kids. It has 2 little people going on a perilous journey to bring a MacGuffin to a place to kill a Dark Lord. They even have knockoff ring wraiths, which are alien-looking Bionicles called Rakshi. It has a few interesting spins in the classic story, and some of the characters are kind of interesting. To be fair, it's not a good movie, but it's really not that bad either. It's a decent, fun adventure film for kids, and that's all that it needs to be. The world building and lore aspect of the story is always the best part about any Bionicle film. There are a good amount of plot holes in this film, and a lot of aspects of the world that go unexplained. The next 2 films fill in a lot of these holes. It won multiple awards, such as Golden Reel Award for Best Visual Effects in a DVD Premiere Movie and Best DVD Release Award at the 2004 Saturn Awards. The success behind the franchise led to 2 more movies being planned before Mask of Light even released. One of these films was Bionicle 2, Legends of Metru, a direct DVD prequel which was released in 2004.
Its heart. Prove yourselves worthy, Toa, and fear not. The Great Spirit shall guide you in ways you could not imagine.
Bionicle 2, Legends of Metru is a prequel and tells the story of the Toa from the first film and how they became to be. It takes place much longer ago, in the great old city of Metru, far away from Matanui. The last Toa gave up his powers while being chased by servants of Makuta known as Dark Hunters. He traveled throughout the city, giving away his powers to 6 Matoran, turning them into Toa, as he knew that not one person could defeat Makuta alone. The film has a much darker story, as the heroes lose for the most part as the city was destroyed and they had to escape to a new land. Despite being darker, there is way more comic relief and jokes that are very cringy to adult viewers. I get these are kids films, but when compared to the other 2 movies, this is the worst offender. The story is a lot more unique and original than the first film, but it suffers from a lot of talking and confusing exposition. It was still a decent kids film, and I'd watch it over Minions any day. The other movie planned was to be produced by Miramax, who were so excited that they wanted to make a theatrical film to be released around the late 2005 or early 2006 time period, but that never happened. However, we did get Bionicle 3 Web of Shadows, a 3rd direct-to-DVD film in 2005, made by the same companies that did the first 2 films. It is a prequel to the first movie, but a sequel to the second one, taking place in between the first 2 films.
You crusty relics are gonna give us much trouble. Agreed?
You think we should?
Follow me!
What is that?
Move! Can't stop!
This is gonna hurt!
Is everyone okay?
Yeah, we're right behind you, fearless leader. Literally.
Bickering won't get us out of this, Matau.
No, but think talking before charging straight into a trap might have.
If you have something to say, Matau, say it!
Forget it. Oh, what's that?
We'll soon find out.
Let me guess. Vizorak?
Yeah. Or in their tongue, the stealers of life.
Do they even have tongues? All I see are teeth.
Wakama, what do we do?
It is a much grittier and darker movie in its tone and atmosphere. It is a mixture of noir and light horror elements such as moody lighting, foggy and dark environments, a femme fatale, and a couple jump scares, and spiders. Out of the 3 films, this is the one I like the most. It benefits from the darker tone, and it is also by far the most action-packed. The story is original, and while there is a lot of plot holes and annoying comic relief, it's a big improvement from the second film. Bionicle 3, Web of Shadows was nominated for the Golden Reel Award for Best Sound Editing and Direct-to-Video by Motion Picture Sound Editors, and it also received the Annie Award for Best Home Entertainment Production. After Web of Shadows was released, there weren't any more feature-length movies for another 4 years. But during this time, many memorable 3D animated commercials and short web videos were produced. Eventually, we did see a 4th film called Bionicle, A Legend Reborn, released on DVD in 2009, but it was made by entirely different people, being produced by Threshold Animation Studios and distributed by Universal Studios Home Entertainment. The film had poor reception from fans who thought the tone was much more lighthearted and childlike when compared to the original films. The film was supposed to be part of a whole new trilogy, but the sequels were cancelled after LEGO decided to cancel the entire Bionicle line in late 2009. So the movie ended up on a cliffhanger, with the only wrap-up being in the form of webcomics that were released to later appease fans. There was a failed attempt at a Bionicle reboot launched in 2015, and a 4-part Netflix miniseries named Bionicle The Journey to One was released in 2016. This series was also incomplete, as later that year LEGO canceled Bionicle again. This caused the production team to quickly find a way to finish up the story. It was very messy, and unlike for the same reasons as Legend Reborn. The love of the Bionicle films is mostly fueled by nostalgia. The original Bionicle trilogy is still greatly remembered and appreciated by fans who grew up watching the films such as myself. The dedication of the people at Creative Cappers and CGCG towards Bionicle really shows. There is a certain charm to these films that the later content failed to capture. It was these movies that sparked the interest of many children to investigate the fascinating world of Bionicle, which helped to shape many great childhood memories. Of course, these films are very toyetic in nature, and they are made to sell a product, but I feel that despite this, there was a lot of real care that went into creating these films. It was a very unique franchise that saved the LEGO company and brought tons of joy to a whole generation of children. We will likely not see anything quite like Bionicle again, but one can still dream.